Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Monday, July 11th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you are somebody that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. A couple of quick clarification points. First off, this number you see over here will be changing, and this candlestick you see here will be fluctuating around. That's because the market is still open for a small amount of time, but I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement, especially on a Friday. You never quite know what might happen at the end of the week here. And then next, I will be using the 30-minute time frame. So for you beginners out there, what that means is that each one of these candlesticks here, as they're called, represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one here, WTRH, and this will mean a bit more to those of you that have watched past watch list videos, but for those of you that have, hopefully remember me putting in that resistance trend line right there, and you can see that earlier on in the day, the price came up to it, got rejected by the trend line, and then decided to give another try, and right there, not only did the price exceed, but it just absolutely exploded up through that level. So a huge trend line breakout today, and congratulations to anybody that played that breakout there. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these lines as they serve their purpose for now, and we'll get some of the newest updates here. So as far as levels of support, in terms of new kind of areas that to keep an eye on if you like to play pullbacks, new main pullback level going to be right there at that 30-cent mark. That was a former area of resistance, and that's just classic rule. When levels of resistance are broken, they tend to act as support, which is what happened right there. So moving forward, 30 cents will be an important level from a support side of things. In terms of levels of resistance, pretty straightforward. Just a question of where did the party essentially stop today and struggle, and that was right up here at 37 cents. Now, I realize the price did get up above there at that one occasion, but other than that, you can see that the price just hovered right down below that area. So moving forward, 37 cents apparently is going to be that main breakout point. But anyway, you look at it, very, very nice way to end the week. Next one, MARA. Been a while since I've seen this one, but I know it's been beat down quite a bit, but it came to life in a big way today and has now formed a very nice pattern. And I want to, before I go for any further, I want to preface this. I'm not trying to impress you. I'm not trying to imply that this is a great skill or some sort of special talent to have seen this pattern. A lot of people have seen this pattern and will be watching this pattern. And I bring all that up because when a lot of people are watching the same things and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want. It can produce some big dynamic movements. So the level here that I think a lot of people will be watching is that trend line right there. And then they've also put in that area of support down here. So actually, let me change that to green to represent a support dynamic. And then maybe to make this all easier to see is from a pattern standpoint, let's just keep things one color. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the big momentum move right here. And to make it a little more visual for you, those of you that golf, we'll put the golf hole down here. This will be known as a bull pennant pattern. So while there are no guarantees in the market, my point here is it valid? Is it rational to think that if the price can come up to that top part of the pattern and get the break up through it, that break could create quite a bit of upside buying pressure? That is absolutely a valid and plausible thought process to have. Again, there are no guaranteed results, but is that a rational way of thinking about things? Absolutely, from a technical point of view. So if you like to play bull pennant patterns, here you go. Next one's CLVS, and I put this one strategically in the watch list because I'm going to draw something that hopefully, if I did my job right, looks pretty familiar to. So we have our resistance. We have our support down there at 275. Change that to green. Make this all one color again. Hopefully you're having a case of deja vu. We have our resistance. We have our support. We have the big momentum move right here. We'll put our golf hole down there. And we have ourselves yet another bull pennant pattern with a good amount of volume. So I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole again of all those self-fulfilling prophecies. You just heard me talk about it. So once again, if you like to play stocks down below $5, if you like to play bull pennant patterns, CLVS is one that's worth keeping an eye on. Next one here, AMC, and I'm just going to start to update things here. But the first update, that's a little different than the previous ones in terms of where did the bottom part of this pattern come from. But I mentioned earlier when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support. So this was a resistance, but let's change that to green now to represent support. And you can see that did play out very nicely. Price broke above it, came back down there, found support, found support. So that'll be the bottom part of this pattern that I'm going to draw. And then we have a resistance area right there. And I'm sure the light bulb is starting to go on here. And resistance, support, momentum move, golf hole down here, another bull pennant pattern. So here we go, AMC bull pennant pattern, a very nice week. I mean, to think about that, it started things off all the way down here and then ended up all the way up there with now a nice bull pennant pattern. Let's see if this momentum carries into next week. Next one, ENDP, and I will say that you could draw a bull pennant on this one if you wanted to, but I'm going to change it up a little bit because in my mind, and you feel free to disagree with this, but all eyes, everything, the only level that really matters on this one is right here at, let me just make sure. Yeah, that 63 cent mark. Let's go just look at the history of 63. Rejected the price, rejected the price, rejected the price, rejected the price, rejected, rejected. Did one time get above it, but other than that, every single time has rejected the price. And I think a lot of people have noticed that. So in my mind, that's the level that all eyeballs are on. Sure, I mean, if you want to draw some sort of bull pennant in there, that's fine. But in this situation, I think that all of that's kind of a distraction because for me, it all boils down to just what's going to happen with that 63 cent mark. I think it sticks out like a sore thumb, which means a lot of people will be watching it. And if the price can get the break up through it, again, no guarantees, but is it plausible to think that a break of 63 could ignite and bring in more momentum? That is certainly a very valid thought process to go through. I wanted to pause real quick and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online training that I'm offering next week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency as a trader, then certainly get signed up for this free training. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box. If you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage you can click to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more, then definitely get signed up for the free training. Next one here, TSLA Tesla. And what I'm very curious about on this one, and I'd like to think a lot of people have drawn this trend line in play. I guess I can't say for sure, but there's just something about this trend line that really stands out to me. And when I put in the next level, maybe it'll make more sense on why it does. But so let's just change that to green. Again, the support trend line. But then at the same time, we have what seems to be, just generally speaking, this uptrending trend. See at the eyeball. Okay, no. Actually, I like that now. Now that I see that, because, okay, this is super interesting. So let's change that to red because this is the resistance part of, I was wondering what was leading me astray. So, I mean, check out this pattern as far as an upwards channel, but the top of the channel, look how just on the money that trend line has been over and over again, except this one time right here when the price broke above it. Nice move. And then look what happened. Price fell back below it. And then notice where it got rejected on the bounce back up. Once again, right at that trend line. So, yes, this is kind of makes the pattern not look as clean as it could. But if you can kind of just eliminate that out, this pattern right here is doing a very good job of forecasting where these pullback points are and then rejection points are. So I'm definitely very curious personally about the lower part of that trend line. But then as I put that in there and kind of talked out loud through it, this trend line here seems to have a lot of validity to it. So I'm going to also keep an eye on that. And then, from these highs, as far as 765 is concerned, that's going to be kind of an overall breakout point, but also based on the, how the pattern itself is functioning, a breakout of 765 could also have it being breaking out through the top part of that channel. But overall, if you care about more so just big picture patterns, I mean, Tesla, no doubt about it, a very nice uptrending channel. So we'll see if this uptrend continues next week. Next one here, ADTX, and I really struggled, went back and forth. Do I want to include this one on the watch list? And yeah, I think so, just because, and I probably should have put this in another location because you're going to hear some stuff here. And in fact, I'm just going to go through it for time's sake. But we have our resistance trend line. We have our area of support right here, which you can see the price just hovering right around this 24 cent mark. And then when you consider, the big momentum move today, have ourselves another bull pennant pattern. And, it is a penny stock, but also just from a volume analysis standpoint, this is what kind of tipped me over to, okay, yeah, put it on the watch list. And if you've ever done any sort of studying on volume analysis and how you want to see volume behave along with certain price movements, you had the big surge in volume right here. And then when the price pulled back, you had very low volume pullback. So big surge in volume on the big surge in price. And then when the price drifted downwards, much lower volume, which in my mind makes this very intriguing. But as always, the other reason why I struggled is, I don't know, is this thing just game over? Has everybody lost interest in it? And that's also a very real possibility, which is why risk management is so important, because maybe it is game over, maybe nobody really cares about it anymore, and this thing's going to drift right back into this previous range. And that's the case, then you don't want to get stuck in that nonsense. You want to make sure that you're honoring risk. But from a risk-reward standpoint, if the price does recover back upwards, then what you could be facing from a reward standpoint compared to what was being risked would certainly be in your favor quite a bit. So like I said, keep an eye on it, but I'm also not offended. I also can totally see where you're coming from. If you're like, no, Clay, this is garbage, I'm not watching this one at all, I can totally understand that too. Next one, SRG, and this one has just been grinding all day long after the gap up. Just continued. I mean, a couple pullbacks here or there, but like Tesla, what I'm very curious about is that trend line right there moving forward. So we'll see if there are any sort of pullbacks, and if so, how does the price behave right around that trend line? But to me, that's kind of the level that's really just going to continue to help gauge the health of the move, and meaning as long as the price stays above that green line, then as far as I'm concerned, the movement is completely healthy. As far as levels of resistance are concerned, so almost a little upwards channel here. But certainly not nearly the track record that we saw on Tesla, but that's going to be an area of resistance that I think a lot of people will be watching on that one. But overall, a slow, I mean, it had a big move, yes, but a slower mover, not one of these that starts at $8 and goes up to $15 in the same day. So kind of a in between. It definitely made a quality move. So I'm not trying to imply that it didn't, but it's not nearly as fast as some of these stocks out there that I'm sure you've seen with a lower float. So I'm guessing this one does have a bigger float. But anyway, look at it. Nice movement today, and I'm sure this one will set off plenty of scanners over the weekend with lots more eyeballs watching on Monday. So we'll see how it continues to play out. Next one, RIOT. Been a long time since I've done this one, but good to see that it's getting some momentum back in play. And what I like about this one is this little miniature pattern within kind of an overall pattern, but you have this little area of support right here, and this isn't really what catches my eye. What catches my eye, and I think a lot of people will be watching it, is just the top part of this little consolidation period right there at $5.55. So I know I've said it a bunch of times, but I just want to continue to be clear about it. Am I saying that if this level breaks, it's for sure going up to 580 and potentially higher? Of course not, no guarantees. But do I think a lot of people would be shocked if that were to happen? No, I don't think that would be shocking at all. I think that's a very kind of leading indicator point where if the price can get a good high volume break of that level, then again, no guarantees. But is it rational? Is it plausible to think that the price could get up to not only 580 but even higher? In my mind, absolutely so. Like I said, yes, that trend line right there is important, but in my mind, it's all about that level and whether or not the price can get a high volume break of it or not. Next one, AMD, and the reason why this one is on the watch list is because you have such a big potential self-fulfilling prophecy on it, which revolves around that pink line right there, which on my chart denotes the very well-known, the very famous 200-period moving average. Even if you have a surface-deep understanding of charts, I'm sure you've heard of the 200-period moving average, and you can see that the price never quite hit it today, but got, generally speaking, within the range. So in my mind, it's going to be a level that's highly watched, and if next week the price can get up through that level, so let's just call its value $80.50. So $80.50, key level of resistance on AMD next week. For that reason, you have that 200-period moving average. And then you also got to give credit's due. A lot of nice things going on with it. I mean, to think that it was just down here not that long ago, and now it's grinded all the way up to that level. You have a 50-period moving average that's now finally leveled out and put in an upwards motion to it, so it's got an upwards angle. And then even in the near term, you have some nice trend line action going on right here. I'm not quite sure if it's really necessary to put that trend line in because you can just use a moving average as your trend line. But I mean, if you were to want to leave that trend line in, that's fine with you, but I don't want to, cause a bunch of clutter on the chart. But at the end of the day, it all goes to $80.50. And can AMD break it? Let's see what happens. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about this tool and how it can be used to help build consistency as a trader, then certainly get signed up for the free training next week. It'll be Thursday, July 14th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So I hope to see you there. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoyed this format, if you would like for me to continue to create this content, then please help me out with some basic comments and feedback. Those two things go a long way in communicating to me that you enjoy the content. And as long as I know that you are continuing to enjoy, I will continue to put in the required time and effort to get these watch lists out there. So again, just hit the like button and leave a simple comment. Just tell me what you traded today. Tell me what you're watching next week. Say hi. But those two things really do go a long way in communicating to me, which I appreciate. So again, if you want to learn more about the tool of technical analysis, certainly get signed up for that free training next week. Hit that like button. Leave a simple comment below. Everybody, thanks. Take care and have a great weekend.